and then inshallah Surah Taha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-aliy al-azim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. La siyama baqiyatillah fil aradin. Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif. Allahumma akhrijni min dhulumat al-wahm wa akrimni bi nur al-fahm. Allahumma aftah alayna abwaba rahmatik wa anshur alayna khara'ina ulumik bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahim. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of the section on Ma'rifatun Nafs from al-Haqa'iq fi Mahasin al-Akhlaq by the late Mulla Muhsin Fayd al-Kashani. And this part we study chapter 5, Maka'idu Shaitan, and also inshallah chapter 6. First let us study chapter 5. We said that there are two sources for inspiration or temptation. Inspirations come from angels, temptations come from shaitan. But you should not think that it's always easy to understand whether this is satanic temptation or angelic inspiration. It's not always easy. Yes, sometimes it's easy. For example, if one says, you should say your prayer, the other one says, no, asleep. You do ghada later. So you realize which one is satanic. But sometimes it's not very easy. Even mu'mineen, even people who are learned, when there are subtle issues and their own nafs is also involved, they may think they are doing something right, but it is wrong. So he says, اعلم إنه قد تلتبس لمة الشيطان بلمة الملك. Lamma, as you remember, we said it means nuzul wal qurb, coming, approaching, and it is a kind of concern, the kind of thought which comes to our heart. So what is from shaitan and what is from angel can be taltabisu, they can be mixed up, they can be confusing, which one is which. فإنه من مكايد الشيطان أن يعرض الشر في مكان الخير or في معرض الخير. One of the plans and plots of shaitan is that brings bad but wrapped with goodness, or in the place of goodness when you don't expect something bad. Sometimes shaitan uses good people against each other, and because they are good people they trust, but this person is not ma'soom. If this suggestion had come from a bad person, you were alarmed quickly, but because coming from a good person, you think you can trust. Therefore, we should always check everything against our aql, against our sharia, our sunnah, Quran. Not just go by personal, for example, relations, etc. One example that we find here and also in Al-Mahajjatul Bayda, it is this. Shaitan says to Alim that you should do maw'azah, should preach people, give lectures, lead jama'ah, lead majalis of dua. أما تنظر إلى الخلق وهم موتى من الجهل. Don't you look at people? Because of ignorance, they are dead. Because of ghafla, they are destroyed. حلقة من الغفلة. موتى من الجهل. حلقة من الغفلة. Because of ignorance, they are dead. Because of heedlessness, they are destroyed. قد أشرفوا على النار. If they die like this, they are going to be facing fire. أما لك رحمة على عباد الله. Don't you have mercy upon the servants of Allah? Don't you feel responsible to save them? تنقذهم من المعاطب بنصحك ووعدك. With your nasiha, with your preaching, you can save them. وقد أنعم الله عليك بقلب بصير ولسان ذلق ولهجة مقبولة. Allah has blessed you with a heart which has basira, which has insight, with a tongue which is eloquent. فكيف تكفر نعمه. Why you are ungrateful to His blessings upon you? Why you are exposing yourself to the wrath of Allah? Why you are silent with respect to spreading knowledge and calling people towards the right path? So keeps inviting this person to and urging him to get engaged in maw'izah, giving lecture, going on member, leading Salatul Jama'ah. فَلَا يَزَالْ يُقَرَّرُ ذَلِكَ فِي نَفْسِهِ. Shaitan keeps trying to establish this in the heart of this person. وَيَسْتَجِرُّهُ بِاللَّطَائِفِ الْهِيَالِ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يَشْغَلْ بِبَعْضِ النَّاسِ. With different tricks, pushes him to get engaged in maw'izah, preaching people. Then Shaitan doesn't stop here, because if he was stopping here, was okay, he wasn't preaching people. But Shaitan now says, in order to be more influential, you have to do certain things. يَدْعُوهُ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يَتَزَيَّنَ لَهُمْ. You have to beautify yourself. You have to decorate your presentations, your even appearance, nice imamah, nice beard, very nice clothes. When you speak, you must speak very quietly, very low in tone, very slowly, like ulama. Real ulama, naturally speak like this. Ulama of akhlaq, normally they don't, speak quickly, and they don't speak, loudly. But that is natural. But Shaitan sometimes wants to say it this way. If you want to also be influential, you have to do like this. وَيَتَصَنَّعُ بِتَحْسِينِ اللَّفْظِ. Artificially, you should try to have very beautiful voice. وَإِظْهَارِ الْخَيْرِ وَيَقُولُ. And you have to show goodness. And Shaitan says, إِن لَمْ تَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ سَقَطَ وَقْعُ كَلَامِكَ عَنْ قُلُوبِهِمْ. You must do this. Muqaddamiyya wajib. Shaitan knows these things. He says, if you want to have influence on good positive influence, this is muqaddamah, this is prerequisite. Of course it is not, but Shaitan says like this. Otherwise your words will not settle in the hearts, will not have impact on the hearts, will just go away. وَلَمْ يَهْتَدُوا إِلَى الْحَقِّ فَلَا يَزَالْ يُقَرَّرُ ذَلِكَ وهو في أثنائه يؤكد الشوائب الرياء. So keeps repeating to establish this, and then little by little mixes this with showing off and, you know, considering opinion of people too much. I should speak in the way that people would be happy, especially people who have influence. I should please them. Or لذة الجاه, pleasure of having, you know, social status. They say this is a great member, a great lecturer, a speaker. والتعزز بكثرة العلم. So, you know, I am very special, I am very important because I have lots of knowledge. والنظر إلى الخلق بعين الاحتقار. And then looking at people in a very, you know, humiliating way, you know, saying, people have no knowledge, I am better than them. This should not be the case. Even if you are very good alim, if you are good imam of jama'ah, you must know that in your congregation there might be people who are much better than you. Even if you are a marja, it doesn't mean all your muqalladeen are lower than you in iman. Maybe we have muqalladeen whose iman is stronger than marja. It's possible, it's not impossible. At least maraja don't look at themselves in this way. If you ask any marja, are you more pious and more spiritual than your muqalladeen, he would say no. They would never look at themselves like someone who's higher than others in iman and taqwa. Yes, we know they are very high, but even we cannot say they are higher than any muqalladeen. Do you know all millions or tens of millions of muqalladeen of marja? Maybe some of them are awliyaullah, but they are not mujtahid. It's possible. Even among ulama, not everyone is mujtahid. They do taqlid. So no one should look at the audience, people, congregation, to be lower than them, na'udhu billah, looking down at them. So shaitan brings all these things into the heart of this person. Riya, لذة الجاه, تعزز بكثرة العلم, النظر إلى الخلق بعين الاحتقار. فيستدرج المسكين بالنصح إلى الهلاك. So little by little takes this person to destruction. Istidraj, which is also a concept that you are familiar with, means daraja, means step by step, stair by stair, takes you somewhere. فيتكلم وهو يظن أن قصده الخير. This person speaks and thinks, my intention is khair. وإنما قصده الجاه. But the reality is that his intention is jah, position, social status. You know, حب الجاه آخر ما يخرج من قلوب الصديقين. To have no interest in money, to have no interest in house, car, you know, it's easier. Although it's difficult, it's easier. But to have no interest in social recognition, social status, it's very difficult. The last thing that goes away from the heart of the most truthful people is hubbul jah. Wal qabul, he wants to be acceptable. فيهلك بسببه وهو يظن أنه عند الله تعالى بمكان. He is destroyed, but he thinks I must have very high position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because I am a muballigh, I am an alim, I am a membari, I am imam of jama'ah, imam of jum'ah. Many people listen to me, many people I see their life has improved. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have, really benefited. Sometimes people, trust. They don't know this person is sincere or not. They think he's sincere, inshallah. Of course, if he was sincere, there would be more impact. But it's possible that someone who has hubbud dunya talks and people benefit. It's not impossible. And this is why one of the things that in Jahannam people suffer from is the alim that he himself didn't practice what he said, but other people benefited from his advice and practice, and he would have great regret. So he is destroyed, but he thinks he has a position with God. وَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِمَّنْ قَالَ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا. The reality is this person is one of those people that Rasulullah referred to in this hadith. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَيُؤَيِّدُ هَذَا الدِّينَ بِأَقْوَامٍ لَا خَلَاقَ لَهُمْ. Allah supports this religion with people that they have no benefit, no share in akhirah. They have done things. People religiously have benefited from them making masjid, giving members, supporting majalis, publishing books. But they themselves have no benefit, no share from the reward. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَيُؤَيِّدُ هَذَا الدِّينَ بِالرَّجُلِ الْفَاجِرِ. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes supports this religion with sinful people. Or in some texts, رَجُلًا فَاسِق. Fajr, fasiq means sinful. Sometimes they thought they are doing good things, or they pretended. Sometimes maybe even they didn't have any, kind of even worry and concern about being religious. Even people who were fighting religion, sometimes they support religion unknowingly. For example, Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein is one of the people that I think unknowingly and unintentionally caused a spread of the truth, a spread of the followers of Ahlul Bayt, especially religious people, because he was against religious people. So religious people had to flee, or they sent them into exile. So it's possible. You cannot say because someone is supporting Islam or his actions supported Islam, he's necessarily a good person. On the other hand, also, if someone is supporting, for example, the bad party, it doesn't mean that they are their agents. People unknowingly, unintentionally, they do things. So, Shaitan goes and keeps suggesting to this person, who maybe was not interested himself in becoming a public figure. Maybe he was, trying to be studying and, looking after his spirituality. But little by little, Shaitan pushes this person to occupy some social positions, and then, in order to be successful, do things which are problematic. This is possible. I was reading also Mahajjatul Bayda, and found it interesting that over there are something that relates to this discussion. And how we have to be careful. For example, it says, روي أن إبليس تمثل لعيسى عليه السلام. This is in Mahajjatul Bayda, which is based on Ihya Ulumuddin by Ghazali, volume 5, page 54. Actually, it is right after this hadith, إن الله لا يؤيد هذا الدين بالرجل الفاجر, which is there also from Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal and from Bukhari. But the next one doesn't say which source. It says Rubiya, but doesn't give the reference. أن إبليس تمثل لعيسى عليه السلام. Iblis did tamathul, took the form of a human being, because angels and jinns can do tamathul, but angels don't take the form of pig and dog. They can take the form of a bird, an animal, a human being, but not pig and dog. Jinns can take the form of pig and dog as well. So, Iblis تمثل لعيسى عليه السلام فقال له قل لا إله إلا الله. Say, there is no God but Allah. Look at vicious technique of shaitan. La ilaha illallah is very basic fact. Shaitan doesn't say, listen to me when I say, for example, there is no God. It says, listen to me when I say La ilaha illallah. Because of me, say La ilaha illallah. فقال, according to this narration, Isa alayhi salam said, kalimatu haqqin. La ilaha illallah is a true word. I have no problem with that. I affirm it. Kalimatu haqqin. ولكن لا أقولها بقولك. But I don't say it because of you. It's amazing. So if you see shaitan is telling you to do something, do it for the sake of shaitan. Of course, if it is wajib, then you have to do it anyway. For example, you say, shaitan is telling me to do Salatul Fajr. No. But if shaitan says, do Salatul Fajr in Jama'ah, if you know it's shaitan, don't do it. But you have to also be careful, because shaitan sometimes comes from the other way. Wants to stop you doing good things and make you confused. So check always your intention. Is it originating from Islamic teachings, or it is coming from shaitan? Even if the good thing can come from shaitan. لأن له تحت الخير أيضا تلبيسات. Shaitan even has attempts to misguide us under the pretext of goodness and good things. وَتَلْبِيسَاتُ الشَّيْطَانِ مِنْ هَذَا الْجِنْسِ لَا تَتَنَاهَا. There is no end. There is no limit in this. Many, conflicts in the community also come from this. Sometimes community is divided over doing this or that, for the community, I don't know, different projects, etc. And shaitan is behind any division. You disagree, okay, but why you are fighting? Why you are dividing the community? in a brotherly manner discuss. If you don't come to conclusion, leave it. Or agree on a methodology of going, for example, by majority or by two-thirds, or seeking advice from a senior scholar. Why fighting? Why dividing? Why making another community, another masjid for these things? If there is really need, that's different. But not for the sake of disagreements. بها يهلك العلماء والعباد والزهاد والفقراء والأغنياء وأصناف الخلق. Shaitan, with these talbisat, these, decorations and, deceptions, destroys ulama. So ulama are not immune unless they are careful. Ubad, worshippers, they are not careful unless they are, so they are not immune unless they are careful. Zuhad, even someone who has no interest in dunya can be misguided. Fuqara, poor people. Aghniya, rich people. Asnaf, different groups of people. Men, women, old, young people. ممن يكرهون الظاهر الشر. These are the people that if something is obviously bad, they don't like it. They don't want to go into obvious sins. الخوض في المعاصي المكشوفة. These are religious people. But shaitan so, tactfully decorates things that they get confused. He says we will discuss part of Maqa'id al-Shaitan in Kitab al-Ghurur. Alhamdulillah, in Hawz Akhlaq series, we actually studied Kitab al-Ghurur from Mahajjat al-Bayda about deceptions, different ways of deception. The lectures are available. Ghazali says, if I get chance, I should write an independent book and call it Talbisu Iblis. How Iblis decorates and confuses people. Because he says, I see his attempts are affecting especially denominations, madhahib, actions, etc. Okay, this is about this chapter, chapter 5. Then we have chapter 6. Maybe I leave chapter 6 for the next session, which says there are two kinds of lamma in heart, two kinds of, ham, two kinds of concern, two kinds of, positions in the heart. We have to find or at least suggest some ways, some solutions to understand which one is triggered by shaitan, which one is triggered by angel, which one is inspired by angel, which one is deceived by Iblis. Inshallah, we discuss this in the next session. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل